It's beginning to look a lot like Wednesday. I feel like I need to start every news video with the day because they're all blending into one at the moment. Tom Campbell from Isolation Station 24601 with your Wednesday flavoured wrestling news. The WWE Intercontinental Title has been vacated. A major WWE Hall of Famer is no longer under contract with the WWE, and we have details on a bizarre finish from this past Monday's Raw. We'll get to that in a bit. The Intercontinental Championship is the closest thing we're getting to a vacation right now, as it has been stripped from Sami Zayn in the last 24 hours. So on Monday we found out that WWE were going to be addressing the Intercontinental title situation this week. The situation being that Sami Zayn, the Intercontinental Champion, hasn't been on television since WrestleMania. Everybody in WWE were told that if they didn't feel comfortable coming to the tapings at the Performance Center during the pandemic, they didn't have to. Sami Zayn was one of those who turned around and said, actually, I don't, so I won't. And they said it won't affect your push, it won't affect your position within the company. However, Sami Zayn does have the Intercontinental Championship. So the decision has been made to vacate the title. It was announced on WWE's social media platforms yesterday. And we are having a tournament on SmackDown to crown a brand new IC champion. This ends Sami Zayn's 66-day reign as Intercontinental Champion, a belt that he won from Roman Reigns back at Elimination Chamber. I'm gutted about this. Like, Sami Zayn holding a singles title in WWE felt really warm inside. He's just one of those great guys, and I enjoyed the stuff that he did with Daniel Bryan. I enjoyed the stuff he did with Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura and that roster of people, and I was enjoying where that was going. I'm hoping that once all this blows over, this is something that we can pick up again, because there's a lot of mileage in something like that. However, for the Intercontinental Championship itself, tournament starting on Friday. They should have pretended to hold the tournament in Rio de Janeiro to arc back to the original IC title tournament. That'd have been fun. Your predictions and your suggestions on who should win this whole tournament, stick it in the comments down below. I'm going to say, if we're going to crown a brand new IC champion, the finals should be Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. I feel like there's a story there that could be told, with obviously Drew and Daniel been working together lately. I genuinely thought Drew Gulak might be the guy to take the belt off Sami Zayn. What a way to improve the stock of Drew Gulak in WWE. Let me know in the comments who you think should become the next Intercontinental Champion. Now the belt has officially been vacated. Here's a major wrestling story that has broken through the medium of action figures. So, Pro Wrestling Sheet have learned that Sting is no longer under contract with WWE. How this all came about is unlike any other news break I've ever known. So it was speculated upon following the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, who talked about some news yesterday regarding Sting's abrupt withdrawal from a toy line put together by Mattel. So they put out a tweet, did Mattel, saying, due to circumstances out of our control, Sting needed to be removed from Legends Series 7. We look to include this figure in a future wave if he becomes available to us again. So it was a response to people asking about a new Sting figure. A new Sting figure is not coming, which is a strange thing to happen. Add to this the reply, fuel in the fire if there ever was. Cody Rhodes replying to this tweet using his own gif of him cupping his ear. So action figure news has spawned Sting to AEW confirmed news. It's not confirmed at all. So this doesn't mean that WWE won't put a new deal together with Sting. It just means that for now Sting is not under contract with WWE, so he is free to explore other wrestling options if he so chose to. AEW confirmed, we're not going down that road. We're not going down that road. It was a tough run for Sting in WWE. Like, we waited years and years and years, and in some cases, for us fans, decades and decades, for Sting to finally make an appearance in WWE. In 2014, he did at Survivor Series, and wow, what a time. What a moment that was. Sting to come out and help Dolph Ziggler defeat the Authority. It feels like a lifetime ago, that does. Sting made just a few sporadic in-ring appearances, a pretty miserable win-loss record in WWE for a Hall of Famer, having lost to Triple H because, you know, WWE needed that big win over WCW. WrestleMania, yeah, and of course facing off against Seth Rollins for the WWE title a few months after that, a match that resulted in an injury that put Sting permanently on the shelf, it seems. Sting was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2016 and hasn't wrestled since, made a few sporadic appearances for the WWE and for other places. It was a convention last year in which I believe it was an AEW affiliated convention in which Sting made an appearance as All-American Sting in the American face paint, like old surfer type setup. So it wasn't an official AEW event, but it was the fan fest that was attached to it, basically. So Sting, at the moment, out of the picture with WWE. Start your Sting to AEW rumours now. Look out for a brand new NWA YouTube show very soon. This was something they teased on NWA Superpower last night. The show, we know, is called Carneyland. That is all we know. Billy Corgan has said this is an idea that he has had since he purchased NWA. And he's really excited about it, but he can't tell us what it is yet. The phrasing suggests that we're going to be... I'm wondering whether it's going to be some sort of wrestling sitcom. That was my initial thought. Carneyland sounds like it could be a wrestling sitcom. Could go one or two ways. I miss NWA Power. I just want to take time to say that. Superpower is great, where we're getting sort of a lot of biogs and stories behind NWA. But man, I miss my Tuesday nights on the soundstage. Oh my days. Wonderful program. I think when everything started shutting down, I think NWA stopping tapings temporarily was the one that broke my heart the most. I can't wait to have NWA Power back. The world in general. I want pubs and NWA Power back. That's what I need from the world right now. Pubs and NWA Power. Bit of news on a recently released WWE tag team. I think you know who I'm talking about. We go hard. Go all day, all night. The Colognes. No, not the Colognes. The Revival. No, not the Revival. The Good Brothers. It's the Good Brothers. This one's about the Good Brothers. Carl Anderson tweeted last night something very intriguing. He said, listen, we had a decision to make in September of 2019. We clearly made the wrong one. In 68 days at midnight, Luke Gallows and I will talk about it. All of it. Talking shop. A smashing episode is lined up in which I feel like they're going to be very, very real about everything that happened with WWE. So 68 days, look out for that one. It's great to hear so many people who were released from WWE coming out and chatting a little bit more about it. If you download the Cultaholic Wrestling News podcast today, one of the names that you heard during the releases was one you may not have heard of before, a chap by the name of Alexander Yaksic. And he was a guy working for NXT. He was on the road. He was doing the house show tours of NXT. Had a chat with him yesterday because I don't think enough people know about him. So we had a chat, me and Alexander, and you can hear it on the Cultaholic Wrestling News podcast. Probably about now. By the time you're watching this, the podcast should already be up if I pulled my finger out. Download it wherever you get your podcasts from. Just search for Cultaholic. Daily wrestling news and interviews and other stuff as well, including today a very special episode of Desert Island Graps with former NXT UK star Jazzy Gabba, the alpha female, on the podcast feed today. Oh yeah, and by the way, listen to the Good Brothers podcast in 68 days. That was the reason why I dropped this in. Bobby Lashley, but not Bobby Lashley. What was that finish about in the tag match on Raw on Monday? I talked about this on Graded. Very confused by Seth Rollins stopping Rey Mysterio hitting a 619 and getting disqualified for it. That felt very strange. The angle that followed it, with Seth Rollins basically trying to burst Rey Mysterio's eye socket. Very, very good. But the finish confused me. Turns out this is a very old rule in WWE, a top secret rule. That is adhered to the nth degree, apparently. Brian Alvarez explained more on Wrestling Observer Radio, so I'm going to transcribe verbally Brian Alvarez. There is, in fact, a secret rule. It's a Vince McMahon rule in a tag team match. You know how you tag and there's 5 seconds when you can both be in the ring at the same time? If I tag you for 5 seconds, we can both be in the ring as the referee counts to 5. However, outside of that 5 seconds, if you are not the legal man, you cannot touch the other team's legal man. Vince is adamant that this be enforced. If you are legal, you are allowed to hit the other team's illegal man, but if the illegal man cannot touch the legal man. Vince is so adamant about this rule that when the wrestlers put the matches together, there are spots they want to do, but they can't because it violates this rule. Even though I've said all that, you are allowed to break up a pin. So if you step inside and punch the legal man, that's a disqualification. But if you break up a pin, that is legal. That's why last night, Ray went for the 619, Seth grabbed him and threw him onto the floor and got disqualified. I hope that clears things up. I didn't know that rule existed. This is like, do you remember, if you're an elder wrestling statesman like I am, do you remember when it was Sting and Abyss for the NWA title, and Sting got DQ'd, and it's there we find out that, oh, the NWA title can change hands on a DQ. Sting's the champ. Oh, all right, it's one of them secret rules that they just didn't tell us. Okay, that's fine. It's a bit like this. Can we get a rule book, like a WWE rule book? I feel like it's nice to have that just to hand when things like this go down. All I want for Christmas is a WWE rule book. Stay safe. Love you, bye.